What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode in our weekend review series, the Sunday Sit Down, where you and I powwow for a little while about the things going on here at the channel. Just kind of like a, I don't know, I call it like a background developer whatever type deal, where we sit down and we just go behind scenes and talk about things, but realistically, it's just where I shoot the shit for like 25 minutes on a Sunday about everything that's happening on the channel, and then I'm able to talk about all the random organizational stuff that's going to be going on over the course of the next week or so. Things that are going to be changing, things that are going to be like staying the same, or whatever else, doesn't really matter. But welcome on back, everybody. So this week was actually pretty eventful for us. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I think it required us to sort of like shift the goalposts slightly and start working on other things versus one thing or another. Right now I'm focusing exclusively on the series that are doing well. There's not a whole lot that I can do other than that, so I know some people aren't going to like the fact that like their favorite series got backburnered or whatever else. But unfortunately, it's what you got to do in order to keep the channel healthy right now, because we're very much treading water. If we're not treading water, we're sinking a little bit. There's actually not a whole lot of fat to be chewed at the moment. I mean, you know how you have like excess fat for when you get sick and stuff like that? The channel has like none of that right now. Kind of like down to our bare essentials at the moment, so I'm really trying to make sure that like all the things that stay and get worked on are winners. And so at the moment, I think Terraria and Stalker are the two series that have been backburnered. Not gonna be, I know people keep asking, but they really need to watch these weekend review videos, because this is where I talk about it. Unfortunately, it's very, very difficult to like drive people towards the content that actually explains what, like, what's going on. Instead, they just want to email you about it and get like a personal response, things like that. And unfortunately, I just get too many emails. So at the moment, I get a lot of people asking what happened to Stalker and what happened to Terraria. I already answered that last week, but for people that might have missed it, Terraria and Stalker right now are backburnered. That means they're only going to be put up like maybe once or twice a week because they're not performing well. I want to finish Stalker. Terraria, technically, I could like pull off the wedding ring with Terraria right now, and I'd be totally happy with what we accomplished. Anything that goes over like 50 episodes on YouTube is largely not really like worth the effort, unfortunately, because the fall off in viewership is usually pretty bad. Just being honest with you, like most professional YouTubers don't want to do anything more than like 10 episodes on anything if they can really help it, unless their channel specifically focuses on the content that they're doing. And so what I'd be talking about there is if you do like a channel specifically on Crusader Kings, then yes, do 1,000 episodes of Crusader Kings, who cares? If you focus specifically on Binding of Isaac, then yeah, you can get away with it. But for a variety channel in general, most variety channels try really, really hard not to be tied to anything for too long. And so, you know, I'd be happy with Terraria right now. Let's talk about the things that we got going on. Aside from that, those two series have been backburners. You won't see them consistently. They'll pop up every now and again, but really I'm trying to focus on the series that are really drawing viewership right now to the channel. And that's about all I can do, because I don't have a lot of leeway. Like when I'm running something like Reign of Kings, for example, which was getting like 100,000 views an episode, then I can afford to float like a lot of series that nobody's watching because it's making up the difference. But right now, pretty much everything is in its skivvies, and so unfortunately if it's not performing, it gotta go or be backburnered at the bare minimum. And so whereas I do want to finish Stalker, I think that it'd be lame if I didn't. With Terraria, there really is no ending, and unfortunately there's so much busy work in Terraria that like you can film 10 episodes of doing nothing and really not even be at like the next boss. There really is kind of like a very real ramp up period when you get to hard mode, where you don't really do anything for like 10 hours. You kind of just run around getting all the new ores and not really fighting anything new or doing anything new. And then you go to the hollow and you farm out some crystals so that you can make a better weapon. And it's just kind of like you don't really get to any bosses very quickly. And so anyways, I've got like this consistent like 10 episode dead period where we don't really do much aside from mine. Not really sure what to do with it, so I'm just going to backburner it for a while. And if I don't come back to it, I don't come back to it. But if I do, I do. I don't know. I'm going to be very non-committal about Terraria for right now, because I really I'm in a weird place with it at the moment. I feel like we've basically done like 50 episodes. I like where it's at, but I really don't feel like grinding anything out further. I'm not a big fan of grind, by the way. I can't stand grinding in video games, and so I feel like that's where we're stuck at the moment. Okay, so this week, Weekly Indie Newcomer, we had Wanderlust Adventures, which was done by Chucklefish. I liked Wanderlust Adventures. I streamed it a couple days ago, and the developers stopped by, and they talked for a little while. They said nobody had streamed it except for them before, so they were really surprised to see it up on Twitch, especially since their game came out a couple of weeks ago, and so honestly, I'm kind of a latecomer on this one. I have games that I tend to keep, like, in my back pocket where I don't do Weekly Indie Newcomers of them because other newer things are coming along, and if you're trying to run reviews or impressions videos, you really want to make sure that you're consistently getting the review videos out like on the day that a game releases, because that's when everybody's looking for it. But some weeks I don't have anything to play. So for example, this week I got precisely 0 games from developers, and then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I think I got something like 15 codes. And so like you go through like a dead period, and then you have more games than you can possibly review in time for Tuesday and Thursday, which are the release days for the industry. And so it's just like, Argh! So this week I think we're going to be reviewing Calvino Noir, I think we're going to be reviewing Space Grunts, although it's not going to be a review for Space Grunts because that's not even an alpha yet. It's still a very, very early development. It'll probably be more like a first impressions, let's take a look at type video. And then on top of that, I think we have another one called Corpse of Discovery, which I'm going to try and review this week. So it should be a very, very busy week for impressions videos and reviews. I'm hoping to get a couple of those up this week because right now there's nothing that I want to dive into for like a full series, but there are lots of things that I want to play just like a one-off video of. And so expect to see that this week. It should be pretty cool. But Wanderlust Adventures was a game that took me by surprise. Very, very lightweight little RPG that I thought was not going to be nearly as fun as it ended up being. And I ended up playing like non-stop for a couple of days. I was just like hooked to my screen. And actually, I really want to play a wizard right now in it, but I haven't had time to sit down and play it more. I got back into Final Fantasy XIV this week, and so that's been dictating a lot of my free time. But I do think that it's a necessary thing because I haven't really had any games on the side that I've been playing just like by myself. Not for the channel lately, and I've been having a really good time with Final Fantasy XIV, so I think I'm going to keep that as like my little sideline thing that I do to keep myself awake in between recording days and on the weekends and whatnot. But yeah, check out Wanderlust Adventures. The first impressions video went up this morning, and so check it out if you haven't seen it. I did like the game. I know people have kind of like negative opinions about Chucklefish and whatnot due to the fact that they were working on Starbound, and then it kind of just like hit snags, but I thought they were working on Starbound full time again. Like I thought they were putting out updates for Starbound recently, so I don't know. I haven't followed development on that game in quite some time just because I prefer Terraria, and so it's not a game that I was actually super interested in to begin with. But Wanderlust Adventures actually gave me a nice little shot glass of something that I hadn't seen in a while, just some top-down hack-and-slash action in the realm of, you know, like Secret of Mana and stuff like that. I enjoyed the game. I thought it was pretty cool, so the impressions video will be up today. Duskers. Duskers I'm probably going to draw to a close pretty soon. I think I'm going to do one more recording session of it. I have about 5 more episodes recorded right now, and we hit like a sort of brick wall with it where unfortunately we lack the piece of our ship that we need in order to like complete the game quest, and yet we keep going to like different shops and bouncing around trying to find it, and we haven't been able to loot one, and ours broke randomly. Like it wasn't even our fault. We were kind of just like there, and it was like, oh, this piece broke. Now you can't do the main quest. And I'm like, all right, so we've been floating for like 6 or 7 episodes. So I figure I'll probably do 3 or 4 more, and then after that, I'll probably break it off whether we've won or not, because I feel like we're getting towards the edge of the galaxy, and we haven't really found anything useful just yet to actually allow us to make some sort of progress. And you guys know how I feel about grinding and treading water. I like Duskers very, very much. The concept of the game is something that I find to be pretty intoxicating. Ultimately, I think it really is drawing upon that old Space Hulk type feeling where there's that creepiness of wandering around a derelict in the middle of space, and then you've also got to kind of worry about the fact that the ship itself is an island. Like, you can't get off of it. You're stuck there, and so I think that's one of the big things that stuff like Space Hulk and Duskers and Dead Knots and, you know, all of those games tend to tap on is the fact that you can't escape even if you wanted to, so you have to get the job done. It's your only hope. And I like that very, very much, and I think the drone take on it is an interesting one where you're the last person in the known galaxy and you're looking around but there's no humans left, and so you're following all these breadcrumbs and clues around the galaxy with your drones. One has to wonder like how tremendously just isolating and just awful that would be as a human being, because we are social animals. I mean, I spend a lot of time just like hanging out in my room doing my own thing, just being silent and boring, but at the same time when I want social interaction I can go outside to the store, I can go to the mall, I can chill for a little bit, and it's there as an option. One can only assume that when put in a situation where you're floating through the galaxy all by your lonesome and there's nothing but the sound of, you know, the creaking of the ship and you bouncing in between derelicts that are haunted by all kinds of crazy, terrible things, they would probably take a toll on your sanity after a while. That is for sure. Your drone's your only friend. You end up talking to them like Wilson, just making little handprints on them, using using figure skates to chop down trees. Jesus. But I do like Duskers. I think it's actually one of the better games that I've seen this year, in all honesty, in terms of both theme and content. There are things that I don't like about it, but at the same time, 2015 has been really, really slim pickings for indie games. It has been just... It has not been a good year. Like, it has not been one, like, for example, the last 2 years, I feel like there were consistent titles like the Banner Saga, which then catapulted us into Shadowrun, Dragonfall. Like, I felt like there were very, very linchpin series the last couple of years that allowed me to ping pong through the year and end feeling very, very successful about the whole thing. Whereas this year, it's just been grasping at straws, and like Duskers is one of the few games that I saw that very much had that old school indie feeling to it, where it has a goal that it wants to accomplish, it's unique, it's drawing on other ideas, but at the same time it's combining things properly in order to make its own distinct product. And I think that's something that's lacking in the indie genre right now. I think everything is horrifically derivative this year. It's just like, seen it. And it's been very, very, like, so many survival games, like Let's Go Chop Down Trees, Let's go pick some berries. And it just feels like everybody's doing the same thing. And so it's nice to see an indie developer who's still fiddling around with ideas and producing something that they want to produce that won't necessarily be commercially successful, but at the same time is a unique idea that kind of just like floats in its own little section of the gaming galaxy instead of coattail riding on things that have already been done. So anyways, I like Duskers. If you haven't played it yet, I strongly recommend it. It's one of the better games of the year. If you like games that are sort of like Screwfly, makes a lot of games like that. They're a developer, Screwfly. They make a lot of weird games like that as well. I would highly recommend that if you like games like, I don't know, Zephaus Diaries, things like Dead Knots that are little like 2- and 3-man projects that end up actually being really, really satisfying. Duskers is a fun one. I like it a lot. I especially enjoy the fact that you have to use like command prompt to get everything done. I thought that would be super lame when I first started playing it, but honestly I started to enjoy it after the first couple levels. Once it all becomes like second nature and you can just like fly through all the commands very, very quickly. I liked it a lot. So Duskers, check it on out. Shadowrun Hong Kong came out this week, and honestly that's the only game this year that I've looked forward to. Seriously, I told you it was a dry year. Shadowrun Hong Kong is the only game this entire year that I have even been like remotely excited about. And so it actually registers like a 10 out of 10 for me because I've been waiting for it for so long and I've wanted to play it for so long that I'm super stoked that it's up. The series is doing incredibly well. We managed to land very, very high in the searches, which is always a nice little incentive. I am looking forward to finishing the game. I think I've recorded about 8 or 9 episodes right now, and I put up 5 today. Not 5 episodes individual, but episode number 5 went up today. I would like to accelerate the process of uploading it because I do think it's going to be a game that's going to take like 50 or 60 episodes to get through. But looking for space to do it without YouTube penalizing me for uploading too many videos is a difficult thing to do. For people that don't know, YouTube penalizes you. Like high volume channels like mine where I put up a lot of videos, they punish you very, very heavily for that because they don't want that. They want somebody to put up one video a month that gets like 10 million views because it's easier for them to do the accounting and finance on. They don't like channels like mine that do my 3 million views by uploading like 1,000 videos a month. They don't like that at all. That is like the last thing they want because I take a disproportionate amount of their storage compared to somebody that puts up a very streamlined 3-minute video that does like 10 million views and then they just don't do anything for the next 6 months. Like YouTube likes those. They don't like what I do. And so anyways, there's a hard balance. Anything more than 4 videos a day, and I really sincerely think they start to penalize me by not sending notifications out and things like that. And so it becomes difficult to get things to fit. I wish that I could upload more every day because believe me, I have a glut, like a huge backlog of random stuff. And I work like 9 hours a day recording, and so I make like 9 or 10 episodes a day, and it's just like, I don't know, can't upload them. I sit on them for longer than I would like to due to the way that YouTube works. And so anyway, Shadowrun Hong Kong I'm stoked about. I like the game very much so far. I've only had the option, I've played about the first 4 hours so far, and I've actually purposefully been playing it only for YouTube. I haven't been playing it on the side because I didn't want to burn it out and kill all the spoilers for myself. Like, I really want to experience the games with you guys that I enjoy, and Shadowrun is pretty much the only game this year that I was excited about. There have been other games that have surprised me that I was not excited about, but once I started playing, I was like, okay, we can do this. But Hong Kong is really kind of like my hype center for the year. It's been the one that I've been looking forward to. And so it's good. I mean, it's more of the same. That's the big thing that I would say about it, is if you're into Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, Shadowrun Hong Kong, it's a funny thing. Harebrained, like every game, it's more of the same. But at the same time, they managed to do just enough innovation and just enough polishing to make each concurrent game way, way better than the previous one by at least 3 or 4 points when you're reviewing them. And so anyways, I very much like what they're going for here. I'm hoping that the narrative stays strong. So far, I'm engaged. I like the fact that they've allowed you to have friends that come along for the whole thing. So in previous games, you usually start out alone and you just kind of like get this weird hard scrabble ragtag team as you go along. I like with Hong Kong how they've started you with your team and then you kind of just pick up randos along the way so that you have like your old established friends, and then on top of that you've got the new people that have come along who are tied to you by drama or otherwise. So anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying it. It's like the only series this year that I've been looking forward to, so it is gonna be the ice cream that goes at the end of the 2015 hors d'oeuvre, entree, whatever. Sheltered, still enjoying Sheltered. I'm glad, like, the nice thing about Sheltered is it's been going on long enough now to where they've been patching the game. and it gets better as I'm playing it. Like, they patch rapidly enough to where the game changes, but at the same time they patch slowly enough to where I get a couple of episodes in for each patch. And so I like Sheltered. I'm going to keep it going until we lose, and then once we lose we'll bring something else in and we'll play that instead. But for right now, I think Sheltered, they're doing a pretty good job at filing off all the rough edges and making everything much smoother. The gameplay experience so far has been a good one for me. It wasn't a game that I was looking forward to or even knew about until it was already on Steam staring me in the face, but at the same time, you'll forgive me here. There. Anyways, it's not a game that I knew about or was excited about, but at the same time I saw it up on Steam and I saw other people playing it and I was like, oh, that looks pretty interesting. I do like sim games. So I went ahead and I played it and it surprised me. It's been one of those ones that I enjoyed very, very much, and I'm glad that I got to do like 25 episodes on it before moving on. I'm not sure when we're going to die. Honestly, our base is getting to the point where we have like everything that we need. And so I will say, I know the last episode that I put up, I was worried that we had gotten bug bombed by a problem that the developers admitted to on the forums. I managed to, I think it's fixed now. Like, the next couple episodes, things went pretty well. And so I think I just had to reset all the loot spawns by taking all the loot out of them. And then they started regenerating as per their way that they're supposed to, given the new patches that have been updated. So anyways, the series seems to be going well, and I'm happy with it. So, bam, bam, bomb, good day to be us. Imperion. Imperion, there's a surprise twist that takes place in the next episode that I'm going to put up, and I'm not sure how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to play around with it. You guys will see there's some drama that unfolds. It's really, really, really bad because we end up marooned on another planet, and I'm not really sure how to fix this right now aside from... You'll see. You'll see, and then I'll sort of ask you guys what we want to do after that. But for right now, Imperion may be on its last legs as a series, given the fact that I'm not sure where to go from here. I'll explain in next week's review. I'll probably record a couple more episodes if I can manage to fix it. But I think Imperion may be on its way out pretty soon, just because there's not really a whole lot else to do aside from get the next level up of gear and then like build another ship with the new gear and then just keep going from there. I'm not a big builder, and so honestly, once I've kind of got my feet wet with the game, I'm usually pretty happy moving on and doing something else. I'm not really sure what's scheduled right now. We'll find out later, but bad things happen in the next episode of Imperion that really make me wonder how I'm going to get the series back up and running without spending 25 hours fixing things. So anyways, that's where we are with Imperion. I do like the game, but it may be going soon so that we can bring something else in. Not really so sure, so if you see anybody asking, let them know in the comments. Just be like, well, you know, we built spaceships, we built a base, we did some stuff, we farmed a little bit, we built some lights, and, you know, we built all the generator things, but honestly, until they get the full, like, hosted multiplayer up and running, not like this weird local host stuff that they have going on, I think that we'll probably take a hiatus on it, but I do like the game, so that's pretty cool. But I think that just about does it for what we have going on. I talked about Terraria, I talked about Stalker already. Both of those are going to be backburned. You'll probably see like 1 or 2 episodes a week when I have a gap for them to fit in. Other than that, though, we should be going back to... We should be losing a couple series this week. I do think Imperion's going to be going pretty soon, just based on the way events have gone down. The stream, I wanted to talk about the stream. If you haven't checked out the stream, check us out on Twitch TV. I know that I'm going to be moving over to YouTube Gaming in a couple of months once that starts up. Not really sure what I'm going to do there. I might just stream like... I might work 7 days a week for a little while just to make it... I'm not sure. I want to hit YouTube Gaming pretty hard because I do think that streaming is the future of the channel. I think that as far as YouTube goes, I think I've run my race and I've gone about as far as I can with YouTube for right now. I'm still going to do YouTube, but I'm going to redouble my efforts on the streaming front as well. And so things shouldn't be changing too much on YouTube. If they do, I'll probably just drop like 1 episode a day. We'll do like 3 a day or 2 a day, and then I'll stream like 6 hours a day instead of spending loads and loads of times like editing and kind of putting out new series. I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens once YouTube Gaming comes out. I'm kind of on the line about it. The streaming, we've been doing Dark Souls. We've been doing Mountain Blade. I think I've been doing Viking Conquest, although I'm not a big fan of that DLC. I really sincerely think that it's kind of inferior to 90% of the mods that are out, so there's really no point in spending money on it. I've been playing Viking Conquest. I've been playing Dark Souls again, which is pretty cool. At the moment in my personal life, I kind of got like too many games to play and not enough time, and I think that's largely due to the fact that I've adopted a new MMO. If you wanted to come find me on Final Fantasy XIV, you should absolutely do that. I'm on Cactuar server. I'm not going to give you my name, but I bet if you keep your eye out, you'll find me. If you've watched any of my series, you'll recognize my name. So anyways, I will see you all later. This is our weekend review series where we sit down and chat for a little while about things going on at the channel. All in all, I think this was a good week for us. I think things are on the up and up right now. They're going well, and we need to focus on maintaining that momentum and making sure that we're hitting new series when new series need to be hit. And then with old series, if we have to cycle those out, well, we have to cycle those out. But honestly, right now, I've got the graph finally on like an upward pull, and I'd really prefer to keep it there. And so anyways, from an organizational standpoint, that's probably what I'm going to be focusing on from here on in. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you wanted to check us out on Patreon, there will be a link down below. If you wanted to check us out anywhere else, I will have all of the links that you need down below. This week, I should have the fan mail episode going out. I got my fan mail done. I got all the stuff, like people have been mailing me stuff for like months now, and I didn't have enough to make like a 4-minute episode out of it. And so I was waiting for it to stack up. I recorded it this week. It is recorded, but I've been on and off editing it because it's a lot of editing, and so I don't really enjoy editing. But YouTubers got to do what a YouTuber's got to do. I've been editing it on and off over the course of the week. You should see it this week. And then other than that, I think we don't really have a whole lot going on. I'm not really looking forward to anything right now aside from Shadowrun and finishing that off. But there are some series that I wanted to take a look at. Things like Fingered. I wanted to take a look at Calvino Noir. And so there is a chance that we'll be doing some interesting things in the next couple weeks. So I will see you all there. Next Sunday, I'll have another weekend review for you. Thanks for stopping by. I do, everybody. I'll see you next time.